Now, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. So let me explain. First off, it's free. I'm not joking, you guys. The Anchor app, it is free to use. Second, there's creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now that's awesome, isn't it? Third, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere, you guys, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so many more platforms. Fourth, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum relationship. Now, is that awesome, you guys, or what? That's just terrific. And finally, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So I have another podcast with Anchor, and I'm just loving Anchor so much. I love it. It's so very easy to use, guys. So why don't you download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. What's up, you guys, and welcome to the official podcast of Damian Talks Education. So listen up. I am here to talk about all things education on my podcast. So get prepared for some realness and honesty of education as I walk you down through various of topics that's happening in the education world with some amazing guests, to sharing stories relating to education and so much more, because I got you covered with education. So join me on this journey of education with me. Hey everyone, welcome back to my podcast, Damian Talks Education. So let me get started here with another topic here. Y'all still bear with me here. My voice is still deep, and then I have a scratchy voice, so y'all just bear with me here for this episode again. So the topic I'm going to be talking about is 6 ways to advocate for underrepresented students who are headed to college. So I know like around this time now, there are some students who are headed back to college. So I'm going to be talking specifically to those students, to college students, and as well as parents, teachers, educators, so on. But I am specifically talking to college students and their parents. So listen up. You may want to grab a piece of paper, pen, and jot some of these information down, because this is very important, okay? Now, conversations about college access for minority students should be guided by dreams and not by their fears. Okay, so we all, like I keep on saying, you guys, almost in every episodes, we have to have these conversations. Okay, so have these conversations with your students, with your kids. Okay, now back in 2017 or 18, in 2017, a New York Times analyst showed that Black and Hispanic students are more underrepresented at the nation's top college, and today they are 95 years ago. Now, as teachers, I'm not a teacher, but teachers, if you guys are not consistently considering conversations with their students about secondary options, then this trend may continue on and on and on and on again. Okay? So, like I said earlier, these conversations you need to be having with your kids, with your students. Okay? Now, when we make assumptions about minority students in higher education, we kind of limit their choices. We do. Again, like I mentioned earlier, conversations about college access for minority students should be guided by their dreams, not by their fears. So I'm going to tell you guys the 6 ways. Here are 6 things to remember. So have your paper and pen ready. Jot this down. Number 1 is all colleges are not created equal. All colleges are not created equal. What do I mean by this? Well, Teach students to make informed decisions about what they want to do, what colleges they want to go to. They have to make these decisions for themselves, okay? Because they are the ones who are going to be experiencing this, not you. Parents, I'm sorry. Your kids are experiencing this. So let them choose what colleges they want to go to, not by what you want them to go to, because it's, you find a better school for them, whatever, extracurricular activities they may want to be in, maybe like a Christian school, whatever. Let your kids decide for themselves, because out in the real world, they have to do it on their own without you by their sides 24/7. So you need to let loose, let go, because they are going to be on their own. I'm sorry, that is the truth. They're going to be on their own. So that's the truth right there. Now, show them how to spot colleges with low admission barriers. Then you have high tuition rates and certificates programs for entry level jobs. Now, many certificate programs are terminal right now. Now that means students cannot transfer their credits to another college and continue toward a bachelor or a master's degree or a associate degree, whatever. Okay. Now I'm talking to minority students right now. So listen, for minority students who are already behind, okay, from graduating with an associate degree certificate and $40,000 in student loan debt is not a level up. It's not. So get that out of your head, because it's not all the things I just mentioned. It's not a level up. Why is that? Well, continue on listening to me. When students ask, now this is a teacher, she says, well, this teacher says, when students ask them, that teacher, about attending one of these schools, or parents, it could be either a parent or teacher who said this, they encourage them, that child, to look at the local community college to see if it has familiar programs, similar programs to that. And they also take exceptional care when working with their skilled trade students. And they make sure that they look for the best certificate programs, which should be affordable, you guys, affordable, because that's what we're looking at, something to be affordable, okay? Moving on to number 2, which is college honor, college horror stories perpetuates fear, okay? College horror stories perpetuates fear. Now, if you have amassed far more debt than ever that you can pay, well, keep that to yourself. Okay? I mean, that's just keep that to yourself. Don't tell no one about that. Okay? Just keep that to yourself. You figure that out on your own. Now, when counseling students to go to college, listen to this. When counseling students to go to college, it is best to keep your tales of cautions to yourself, for this simple reason. Here's the simple reason. Just because you have never seen it done does not make it impossible. Now, by warning students, you are also assuming they will have the same experience that you did. And every good educator should they should want their students to surpass their own accomplishment and avoid similar mishaps that they did along the way. Okay? So that's number 2. I'm quite moving on through this very quickly, so just bear with me here. Number 3 is problem solving skills go a very long way. Problem solving. I'm kind of thinking of being a problem solver right now. But with this third way here is creative problem solving is one of the most important skills ever that a student can have in college. Yes, they have to be a problem solver wherever they go. They have to think of things, come up with things on their own, okay? They have to be problem solvers in life, okay? Now, having the ability to deal with, financial aid or lost paperwork or a bill that cannot be paid on time is priceless. It is just priceless, okay? Why is that priceless? Well, show them how to ask for help because we all need help in life. We're not perfect. We're not perfect human beings, okay? We all make mistakes, and sometimes we may need help along the way. So don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? It does not make you a bad person. It does not make you stupid. It doesn't make you any of those things, okay? It makes you that you are concerned about whatever that you need help with. So always ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? Now, remind the students to keep knocking on doors and to not take no for answer. That's true. That's very true right there. And here's the most important thing right here. The most important thing. Listen up. Show them how to find new ways to get the work done. Because everything is not going to be the exact same. You're trying this every single time the exact same way. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You got to find other ways of how you could get that work done. Okay? That's what I say. Be a problem solver. Okay? It goes a very long way in life. So remember that. Think of that. Or you go into college. Number 4, accurate facts are critical to your success. If it is, it really is. Now, let's just say misinformation is a big issue in college access and counseling, okay? One myth is it is always cheaper to attend an in-state school, okay? Now, not necessarily. Schools receive public and private money to fund students. But sometimes, when that money is not used, they can reacculate. Okay, they can reacculate those funds to a typical students. Okay, now look for the reciprocation programs, such as the Midwest Student Exchange Program, okay, where students who live in the Midwest can exchange their in-state status to other state schools, okay? Now remember this, okay? Listen to hear this. Now, another major misconception is that only students with a GPA of 2.5 or even higher can go to a four-year college, okay? But that's false. That's false right there, false information. Now, colleges know that a student who did not prove themselves in high school could turn it around in college. So don't tell a student no on behalf of a college, okay? You never know what opportunity you might be keeping from them. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind while you are heading to college, okay? Especially during this time that we are in. We are in a stressful, difficult time. It is just a weird world right now. Am I right? It's just a weird world right now. So moving on to number 5, and I'm almost finished, okay? Number 5 is to teach minority students about the financial aspects of post-secondary education. Now, with this, you are telling a student to search the internet for answers about financing a college education can be a waste of time. Now, why can that be a waste of time? I'm gonna just let you guys sit on that for just a moment. Why can that be a wasteful time? Hmm, that's very interesting, isn't it? Why can that be a wasteful time? Well, moving on, suggesting a low income student work part time to pay tuition at a Big Ten school is a waste of time. Again, why is this a waste of time? You may be asking, you may be wondering, why is that a waste of time? Well, think about it and continue on listening. Well, facilitating the acquisition of a predator student loan or credit card. That's also a waste of time. Now, telling a student they will never pay down their student loan debt. Now, that's right there, isn't it? That's a waste of time. All of these things that I'm mentioning, it is a waste of time. Okay? It is just a waste of time. So forget about those things for just right now. Set those aside and just think, think, think. Okay? Because those things are just a waste of time at the moment. Okay? Now, instead of all these things I just mentioned, instead you need to share stories like I mentioned. Well, that this has something to do differently. My bad. You need to share stories of encouragement and prosperity, and they exist. They really do. They exist. So talk about options for student loan repayment, and have several discussions with your child about the physic ability and their responsibility, not just with the student, not just with your students, you guys, but with the student supported adult system that they have, even if it's their parents or guardian, whoever they're living with. Okay. And finally, the last thing, number 6, is to validate underrepresented students' college fears, because some have those fears. Okay. Now, the idea of attending a 4-year college is terrifying for many students. It really is. It was terrifying to me when I first went to a 4-year college last year. It was so terrifying to me because, like I mentioned, when I share my college story this season, I was so terrified that I'm leaving everyone that I love. Um, I'm not going to be able to see them like every single day. I'm not going to be able to do the things that I used to do while I was at home. I'm going to something totally different. I got a new life now. I got to start, completely start over in a new life without the people that I grew up with. And that was terrifying to me. It really was. It was so terrifying to me. But I'm not going to go into deep on that because I talk about that when I share my college story. So check out that episode. It's just, yeah. So think a person a person says that they think of a Mexican American student whose parents don't even speak English. And that student may worry about leaving the parents they incubate and translate for, okay? And they also think about the Black student who helps take care of their older sister's kids while her sister is working. Now, for some of our students, going to college with the hope that it will secure a better life for themselves and their families is a lofty risk, okay? It is a misconception that these families don't want their children to leave for college. I know how that feels. Now, in reality, they may be fearful of the cost of living or the cost of losing a valuable human resource. Now, teachers, it is your job. It is your job to activate not just for these students, but for their families. Okay? So tap into your social injustice portions of your job. Touch into that, tap into that. After all, you guys, supporting our students' families is part of the work that we are supposed to be doing. It is. It's supposed to. Now, this year, you guys, this year, I know it's quite different, since COVID-19 all it's gonna be so different, when we go back to school. But this year, you guys, I want you to do this. Don't just have the conversations about college and the possibilities associated with it. Okay? Dream with your students about a world without limitation, grounded in stereotypes, about their identities, because they matter. Get to know and understand them and their unique desires and their needs and their fears and whatever. Activate for your students and then point them to the stars. Okay, so think about that. Think about it, you guys, when you're trying to have these conversations with them. Please think about it. Like I said, I know I know it's different right now. It's very different. We're trying to, reopen the school. It's very different right now, but just please think about this when your child is headed to college. Think about that. I know they may be, doing virtually, or some of them will be doing, virtually, and some will be, going, doing it in person, going out, to the buildings. So just think about that. Okay? Please think about that. Now, I have a question for you guys. To all of you, whoever's listening, I have a question for you guys. And it is, how do you help prepare your students for the college application process? Okay? How do you help prepare your students for the college application process? I want to know this. So share your advice, you guys, and your ideas to me on my Instagram and Twitter at Damian Talks EDU, on my Facebook page at Damian Talks Education, because I want to know. I want to know. So, 6 ways, you guys. That's a wrap for this episode. Talking about 6 ways to advocate for underrepresented students headed to college. So, like I said, you guys, think about those, what I just said, the informations. Think about those things, because it's, I don't know, just think about those. Okay. So like I said, that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you guys for joining, for listening in. Hope you enjoy it. Again, share this episode out with your family and friends, whoever need this. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Damian Talks Education, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Also, leave a review. Also, you guys, leave a review, you guys, on all the podcast platforms that I'm located on: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, everywhere. I'm available everywhere. So leave a comment, and let me know what you think of this episode and past episodes, because I would like to hear from you guys, my listeners. Okay? So make sure you follow me, you guys, on all the shows. Make sure you guys follow me on all of my social media accounts, on Instagram and Twitter at Damian Talks EDU, on Facebook at Damian Talks Education. So until next time, you guys, I pray that you are well, safe. Remember to wash your hands, and I'll catch you later. Hello, everyone. Damian Anderson here. If you have a question, concerns about Damian Talks Education, stories to share with me, any feedback to share, reactions to the topics that I talk about, jokes to tell, or someone you will like for me to interview, please let me know by direct messaging me on Instagram and Twitter at Damian Talks Edu, on Facebook at Damian Talks Education. You can email me at educationthoughtspodcast@gmail.com or send in a voice message to me by going to anchor.fm/Damian Talks Education, and make sure you click on the message tab to where you can record your questions into me. Thanks so much.